bird on the porch last night that was like dive bombing everything, and I hope he doesn't come back while I'm out here, or else that'll be some funny video.
All right. Meeting.
So I got the pop-up that the meeting's being recorded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we good?
I'm looking in YouTube. Yep, it's live in YouTube now.
All right, so the time is 6:01, and I called the July 14th Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. First on the agenda, we have approval of minutes.
I've read the
All right.
minutes, and I make a motion that they're accepted as written.
Did you change that, Julie, from
Yep.
skidoos to jet skis?
Yep.
All right, then I second the motion.
All right, so the motion's been made and seconded to accept the minutes from the last meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, hearing none, they're approved. Citizens' comments, I checked the email and we didn't have any. Correspondence and announcements, I forgot it. So just a couple of things I'll try and remember. An announcement, we assigned the paperwork for the keys for the garage today.
Woohoo!
So the garage is officially ours. There's a couple of items on the punch list that DEF is finishing off on. And there's some things like the grass planting and I think some stuff like that will be done in the closer to fall. And
We have the retainage until the fall, till that's all taken care of.
yeah, so we do have the retainage for that. What else was an announcement? I think that's it that I got. I don't know if you guys have any correspondence or announcements or anything. No?
No.
Okay.
Quick question on correspondence. Have you received much in the way of volunteers for the Elder Commission?
No. I have, I can put another call out for that. I think we have 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 people. So,
Okay. Because I know one person who was interested, so.
okay. Yep, I can put another call out for that. We can put that on the agenda for the next meeting because we do have to get that together. And I did talk to Todd last week about the status of the van, and they're doing another run over on it, like look over on it. And the registration will probably just transfer the registration over because of the type of vehicle it is. The town plates that we have won't work with it because it's like a transportation vehicle, it's a passenger vehicle. So that we could put the Elderly Commission on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay.
And I'll put a request out for people that are interested. All right, board and committee reports. I got none. Finance reports. We have the fiscal year 1920 budget. I don't know if you guys got a copy of it.
Oh, I forgot to-
2020 budget?
2019-20.
Last year's.
I
Last,
forgot.
Oh, no, just the way you were saying 19/20. I just heard you say 1920.
oh.
So,
We ended up turning back.
It's not exact. It's
An estimate, yeah. We're still tying up loose ends, but around $57,000. So it's a little more than we originally thought. But we
Well,
are
that's
still
good.
tying up loose ends, and a lot of this is for the boards and commissions and the departments to stop their spending when we asked them to. They did a great job with that. So this was a whole around group effort. So that's that. We have the Public Works Garage final closeout. We're still waiting to hear the LoCIP funding. We put in a request to use our LoCIP funding to go towards some of the garage overage. So we're waiting to hear back from that, and we'll probably move the an appropriation for what we need to close it out. Hopefully by the first meeting in August, we'll know where we are with that. The capital improvements plan. Would like to start working on this now for the next budget year, so we have more time for the planning on it. Everything kind of moved so fast and slow at the same time with the budget stuff this year, that we didn't really spend the time focusing on adding anything to our capital improvement plan that we probably should have paid more, spent more time on. So I would like to start with the boards and commissions now to work on a plan for the next, what we can add to it. I know from sitting in on the rec commission meeting, there was mention of the playscape needing to be replaced. They have 20-year lifespan. We think that the one that's there now on Constitution Field is probably close to 15 years. So we should start planning for putting aside money for a new one. They're estimated to be, they could be as much as $100,000 depending on how we go with a playscape. So.
Yeah, that is at least 15 years, because I remember that was here when I moved to town 15 years ago.
So we're getting close to where we should be putting money aside for that. And I want to find out what are the other boards and commissions, if they have anything else to add to it as well. I'm gonna, for the capital improvement plans too, we have the state opened up the STEEP grant again. Officially, I think last week it officially opened up again. It's for a maximum of, I think around 148,000 is the maximum award for the grant, and it's matching. So we would have to show that we have a plan to match as well. Trying to figure out, we have until August. I don't know if it's the end of August or was it the middle of August?
August 14th.
Yeah, August 14th. To get our application in. So we have a couple of ideas. The first, just depending on how much time we have to figure out a plan for whichever one we pick. My first choice would be Bennett Road, Bennett Circle, to see what we can put together for a phase 1 on that project. We'd have to get a plan and an estimate in by the middle of August. So that's one option. Another option is drainage work on Shetucket Turnpike from the top, the top of Shetucket Turnpike, I think. Is that what it was, Ron?
From the Four Corners all the way to the north end at Timmy Cochran's house.
Yeah.
There you put there's 3 drains and, what do you call it, grind the road up and pave over it, because that road is terrible.
So we have that project too. We'd probably, that one's probably easier for us to get the matching fund for through, I don't know how that's gonna work though. We'd have to check it out, because we have, That's one of the options. And I don't know if anyone has any other ideas.
Bassett Mill needs the same thing. That would be cheaper. That's, Shetucket Turnpike is 1 mile just about exactly, and Bassett Mill is only 1,500 feet, so that's a third of a mile. A little less than a third of a mile, so it would be cheaper to go with that one up there, but I mean, it's another one that needs to be done sometime, and it just, we'll talk about it and decide.
Yep. Okay. All right, so moving on. We have old business, the revision of the services agreement / hold harmless agreement and policy. So this came up as a revision because I don't even know if I gave myself a copy of it. But if you guys got the copies, you saw where the revisions were. It came up because, let me see if I can find it. The Rec Commission has been getting a lot of requests to use the pavilion. So they already have a field use and they wanted to add a pavilion use. And while we were talking about it, I realized we had the services agreement previously set up for vendors, which we had as vendors, as in people selling things at events on town property and or a town sponsored event, or people that were performing service for the town, like a contractor. But we didn't have anything in this agreement for people hosting an event, whether on the field or at the pavilion. So it seemed more sense to just amend this to add the host to it, and that it needed to be amended for the COVID-19 because one of the, or more than one of the workshops I had been at suggested that towns add to their hold harmless agreement a line saying that if anyone gets COVID-19 at a event as a host or as a vendor, then the town's not responsible for their catching it. So that's why it's being amended.
So this is, so I've got the copy here you sent out on July 9th. So Town of Allentown, what was the Town of Allentown Services Agreement Policy?
Yep.
We're basically just redoing to the hold harmless, and I'm just looking through.
I added hosts and I added nonprofits on there too, because we had it as individuals and businesses, but we also have nonprofits that use the properties as well. So I added that too. And we call it the hold harmless agreement, and it was titled the services agreement, and no one knew what I was talking about when I called it the hold harmless agreement. So it just made more sense to change the name to hold harmless agreement.
Yep, no, I read through it and I don't see any issues. But did you say that you were adding in COVID-19 specifically?
Yes, that would be actually on the agreement part. If you look at there's a form that people fill out, and in the form, I didn't even just call it COVID-19, I called it COVID-19 / pandemic, so that this would cover
any future.
Not saying that, anything future too.
Got it. Yep, nope, got it.
So that's in there too. It's in there a couple of times. It's in there as J. on page 2, and it's in there on the bottom of the, where it says indemnification.
That's the
Yeah.
piece I was looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And at the top, I added where they check it, how they're filling it out. If they're filling it out as an event vendor, a contractor vendor, or an event host. And this would be for anyone to fill out that's working or using the town, like the town property, or selling at an event as a vendor. And we just need to approve the changes or the new policy.
Ronnie, have you had a chance to look at these forms?
No, I didn't see him, Skip. I didn't have that, and I didn't run down the street to pick it up.
Okay, you want to just, we'll vote on it next meeting then?
We
or
can
you
do
wanna-
that. Yep, we can vote on it next week meeting.
Okay,
All right.
because I don't
That's
see
good.
anything in it that would hold it up. But Ronnie, I want to make sure you've got a chance to look at it and then we can vote on it.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Okay. All right, yeah, so we'll move that to vote for the next meeting. Let's see. So now we are to the Robbins Cemetery request. The cemetery, no, I can't remember what they're called now. The Robbins Cemetery Association, yeah. They put in a request for money from the, from one of our old accounts to go towards the expansion of the cemetery. I asked them to submit their receipts from the previous amount of money that we had forwarded to them to do the surveying, and they were ready for the next step. And I asked them to submit their plans for the next step as well. And I guess they submitted it and I forgot to grab it. So I don't know exactly what their plans are. I think they wanted to put a road in.
They're doing the survey work, yeah, and put a road
They
in.
did this, did they do the survey already? Because they were submitting, we gave them some funding to do
Yeah.
the survey.
Yeah, they want to go out to bid for the work to be done.
Yeah, so that's the next step.
Mhm.
So,
You need to approve the funding.
yeah. I don't know how much it is though.
I know.
We can approve it pending that we have it in the account that they're using for, which is one of the old passport books that was line item.
Designated for the cemetery.
Yeah, for this, it's designated for the cemetery, so, or for multiple cemeteries, but it doesn't, it's not specific to the money that we're using. So I don't
Right,
know.
but this is towards the, what, the 14 or
Robbins.
17 cemeteries there are in Voluntown?
This passport book only specifically mentions, I think, 2 or 3 cemeteries.
Okay,
So,
Kennedy and Robbins.
yeah, and we have to set aside money that's specified in the account, like in the agreement. But even after doing that, because they're such old passport accounts, they've acquired a lot of interest. They do have money to go towards what they want to do for Robbins Cemetery. It's just a matter of what they want to do and how much. They're very conservative in it, so it's not like they're going crazy with the spending. And it's all to benefit the cemetery. so they can put more, I guess, more.
Sell more lots up there.
Yeah, I'm like trying to figure out a way to say it. I guess we just need to approve within reason their spending request for what they want to do, pending like the money that we have. So.
And the money we have, you're referring to the passport account, which
In the
is
passport
money we
account
have set up
for the cemeteries. Yep.
Those cemeteries. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Well, you want a motion?
yeah, I guess
That
just a
we,
motion. Yeah,
I'll make a motion as such that we use the money out of the bank books, which it was designated for to begin with.
yeah.
I second the motion.
Okay. So a motion's been made and seconded to review the Robbins Cemetery request and use the money that we have set aside in the passport book account for cemeteries to use towards their request, pending to leave the money for what we're supposed to be, what it's designated for in that account. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we have to leave in what the principal was.
Yeah.
We can use everything made up on the interest.
Yes.
I make that motion.
Okay. And we seconded it? Did we already do that? Yeah, we
Yeah.
already did. Okay.
Well, you didn't ask for a vote on it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, hearing none. It's passed. All right, new business. The Bennett Circle, Bennett Road Committee setup. So this goes in hand with the project I spoke with earlier for Bennett Road, Bennett Circle. There was a project started in the early 2000s to put in to repair and replace drains and also do road work down on Bennett Road, Bennett Circle. One of the things that would be beneficial too would be to look into a communal well, for the possibility of putting in a communal well for down there so that the property owners, because the properties are on the smaller side, it's been a challenge for them to have their sewer and their well within the appropriate distance of each other, to have their sewers in some cases up to date, which is a chance of environmental as well as health hazards down there. So part of the committee would be to look into that as well. We just need to get the word out and figure out our setup of the committee. We probably want to have no more than 7 people. Make sure that we have maybe at least one person that doesn't live down there, but have someone that knows about drain work, maybe someone that knows about road work, maybe someone that knows about certain areas of what we're gonna be working with down there. And just put it out there that we're looking for volunteers to be on the committee. So I don't know if anyone had any comments or suggestions about that.
Oh, that's the best way to go about it, and see if you can get anybody interested from down there that lives down there.
Right.
And see if we can get some back feed from, what do you call it, Connecticut Water.
Yep, I've contacted them multiple times.
They said that and they don't answer.
Yeah, and it was before, I was working on this before all the COVID stuff hit, so I just have to touch base. That's on my list to do this week. to retouch base with them. It's similar to a project that was done years ago in Plainfield on Moosup Pond. So I also talked to the first selectman in Plainfield about it briefly to get information about that too, so I can touch base with him as well and see what they actually, how they went about the process too. So
Yeah, that certainly help.
yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else on that project? No. All right, revision of job titles. So this is just a first read of the documents. I finished them up today. I emailed them to you, Skip. I don't think Ron's even seen them yet. So this is just a first go through.
Yep.
Of these job descriptions, and it's for the clerk to the Board of Selectmen and for Director of Finance.
So the clerk to the Board of Selectmen this is a new job description for the assistant to the Board of Selectmen, Julie's current position?
Yeah, this is a clearer definition. Both of these are the same, currently held by the same, they're the same person right now. This is just a clearer definition of those roles.
Okay.
And also to give to clarify for the residents so that they know exactly what this position entails too, I would say.
So at any point in the future, do you envision splitting? So
yes.
Splitting these positions out?
Yes,
Okay.
that would be a future, I don't know how far in the future that would be. But in order for, ideally it would be 2 positions. The clerk to the Board of Selectmen, if it does split off into another position, would have other things added to it that currently, that like I do right now, which would include the clerk to the Board of Selectmen would also include like the social media, the newsletter, stuff like getting the information out to the residents and to the public would be more something that the clerk could do too. It can be, this in itself would be a part-time position.
Okay. And the Director of Finance would be a full-time.
It would eventually be a full-time. I think that the Director of Finance is important for the town all around, to make sure that there is someone that's not, it's very important. The fiscal part of the town is the most important part. If the finances aren't in order, then nothing is. So in my opinion, it's very important for the town to have that a consistent and not just going by the elections of the first selectman. So.
Oh, no. This is certainly a position that needs long-term continuity.
Yeah.
To be successful and to get the town fiscally in good health. I agree.
Yes. So when you look through it, that's what the point of it is, to make sure that there's important things that are done annually, the reports to the state, the grant reports. These are all things that it's very important to make sure that there's someone there that that's consistent and knows how to do this. It includes the human resource stuff as well, with workman's comp, like the insurance companies. It's just,
No,
it's-
and I also think this is good from the standpoint of it will make any new Board of Selectmen's job easier getting in and getting up to speed because the three of us are not going to be the Board of Selectmen forever.
Right.
So there's going to be, whatever the next board is, particularly if it's someone who's never served before, then they're going to need this.
Yeah. So we can go into more detail on this once everyone's had a chance to read it and think about it. We'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting too. And I think that's all I have, unless I'm missing something. I'm scanning.
That was it for the agenda, I believe.
Yep. Seems like a lot of stuff. That went by fast.
Oh,
You said I got James Road driveway permit, which we talked about. COVID-19 vacation policy is on mine,
yep.
my agenda.
Oh, it's not on mine. I must have printed an old one.
No, I got the same one as Ron does.
All right. So the COVID-19 vacation policy. This is just looking for some ideas as to if this is something we should have for the town, for our town employees, for people that go on vacation, if they're going to any of the hotbed states. The governor, I looked at the governor's list today and it was up to 22 states.
So I'll share with my day job what they put out.
Yeah.
What they put out was if you go on vacation to any of the states listed in the governor's list, when you get back, you are required to quarantine for 2 weeks. If you have the capability of work from home and your manager agrees with that, then you can work from home while quarantining. If you do not have if your job does not allow you to work from home, you have to physically be there, then you're required to take that quarantine time as vacation time. So I'm throwing that out as a point of discussion, not my recommendation.
Okay.
So, who do we have that could not work from home? Because I think we
Pretty
need
much
to.
everyone. But the thing is, if they do come into work, they can work isolated.
Okay.
So that was something to think about, because they can work with their door closed in their office and not be around other people. So, but almost everyone does need to have some sort of access to something in their office at some point. So. I don't know.
Do you want to write that up as a policy then, and we can vote on it?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for suggestions. Some places have 2 weeks, some for 10 days, because a lot of the suggestions are 10 days. For some reason, 14 days is thrown in because if you have to get a test, it's an additional 4 days for the results to come back, is from what I've heard as to the excuse of 14 days. So we just have to know if it's 10 days or 14 days, if it's total work from home, or if there's the option to work in isolation. If it's just.
I think we'll need to review the state guidelines on that. And my suggestion is we go with the state guidelines.
Okay. Okay. Will do. All right. And the driveway permit that was on the list was the one on James Road?
Yes.
Okay, and we did talk that they had someone that drew plans for it, and the plans looked good, so we'll just bring that back up when they're done. Is that what we decided? Okay.
So
Okay.
Ronnie, you've already done the physical inspection, correct?
Yeah, I was up there, yes.
So as soon as we get the paperwork, we can approve it, right?
As soon as
Yes.
they're done, yeah.
Yeah, they gotta wait till it to be done. We won't, I don't think they'll finish it until that's one of the last things done. But,
Yeah.
and another thing is I read a lot of that driveway permit stuff. By that, what do we charge, $25, Julie?
Yes.
By that driveway permit thing, you're supposed to inspect it every time they do, like they'll dig out and put the 10 inches of gravel. Then you're supposed to wait till they compact that, then go back and see that they put the 2 inches of process and compacted that. That driveway permit, I mean, is crazy. I'd have to visit, or anybody doing a job would have to visit 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
I mean, if you're doing somebody who's on the hourly wage, your $25 doesn't do anything, barely covers the gas. So it's just something, I meant to bring it up to you today, Tracy. If somehow check with, if you had somebody in Griswold, see what they have for a driveway permit. I don't mind ours for the industrial and the 2 and 3 house driveways, but just for the basic single driveway, it should be a lot simpler than it is.
All right, I can look this up. I guess I can put this under the announcements. The general code company that we've been working with to go through our ordinances and our regs. We had a meeting with them today, and they've given us access to their online system now. So we're in the review stages of what their suggestions are for our ordinances. I'm sure we'll have a list. We'll have some ordinances to go through and amend or figure out what we're going to do with. Because they went through to see how they matched up with state statutes and over time, if they're still relevant. But they also, my point for this was they also had a way where you can look up other towns by their subject to see what they have for ordinances and regulations too. So this will be a fun way to go through, and I can just put in driveway ordinances or driveway permits, and I can see what other towns that they have done in Connecticut have done before. So this is handy.
Yeah, it's a good way. How old is it?
Yeah, it's easy. It's going to be an easy way to get references for things like that. Like today, when they were going through the program with me, we looked up blight, and there were you could see what other towns in Connecticut have done for blight ordinances. And you can also, it's so specific, you can actually see like the town and what their population is. So you can narrow it down to towns that are more in line with ours. So I can take a look about driveway stuff on there and see what comes up.
So Tracy, you get bonus points because you said it's a fun way to look up things.
I know.
If I caught that too.
I like that kind of stuff. I don't know why.
That's okay. That's good.
But I think that's more fun than like, I don't know, Google searches that take you all over the place. So. Okay. So I think we touched everything now, unless I missed something else.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that motion.
All right, so the motion's been made and seconded to adjourn at 6:40. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Good, thank you. Good evening.
Good night.
Bye.